Mr. Blumenauer for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I couldn't disagree more with my distinguished colleague who just spoke. Even with 1,500 proposed amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act, it remains a disgrace. The majority talks big about cutting money, but they fail on some of the most fundamental opportunities. They reject common sense solutions and have failed to support meaningful cost-saving reforms. They've held the global economy hostage over spending levels, but I hope they will take advantage yet to make some adjustments, including my amendment with Representatives McGovern and Garamendi to end the wasteful funding of the outdated, ineffective B-83-1 bomber that the 2022 defense posture laid out. It was unnecessary and wasteful. If they wanted to get serious about addressing spending levels, we should stop wasting taxpayer dollars on weapons that don't work, on ships the Navy doesn't want, and nuclear weapons that are outdated and increasingly costly to maintain. Adding even more money to an all-time record defense spending regime does nothing to improve American security or strengthening our allies, including the valiant Ukrainians, in a fight for their very survival. At a time of renewed security threats to the United States, a war raging in Ukraine, tensions in Asia and the Pacific, so much controversy over government spending, this legislation falls so painfully short of the mark. It's funding of battleships that don't work, after spending billions to develop the Freedom-class littoral combat ships that marked their initial run with engine failures. The Navy doesn't want them. Retiring them would save $4.3 billion over the next 5 years. But Republicans continue to protect it to have jobs in Florida. This bill leaves unfinished business in the work of protecting our troops, their families, and their neighborhoods from military toxins and explosives. Congress has long failed to make UXO and toxin cleanup a priority, and our servicemen and the civilians continue to pay the price. The United States is the largest energy consumer in the world. We should be focusing on ways to make them even more energy efficient. The Department of Defense has appropriately been a leader in clean energy and water protection, disaster preparation. These are not arts and crafts projects. It's all about readiness. Improving efficiency and energy resilience makes our troops safer and saves critical money. The newly empowered Republican majority has decided to throw money at mismanaged priorities in terms of taking the culture wars to the Department of Defense, stripping away protections and programs that deal with the diversity of our military. Social issues are defense issues, and the continued onslaught of restrictions against people of color, those who are LGBTQ, or whose health care is under attack, causes America to use potential service members we need most. We're not meeting our recruitment objectives now, and taking the culture wars against the Department of Defense, fighting against diversity, makes us less ready. Recruitment and retention are serious challenges plaguing their military, and the Republican attacks on those they don't like makes us more vulnerable. These are honorable people, and the military needs them. The good news is that most of the sideshow we'll be dealing with today and into the night will never be enacted into law. But making these attacks and forcing these votes on readiness is not harmless. Even though they're ineffective, it does not mean that damage is not being made. Look at the charade from Alabama's junior senator, paralyzing the order function of the military command structure over an ill-advised, unpopular, wrong-headed crusade against giving American military personnel the health care they deserve. Denial of health care is another way we're driving qualified people out of the military. It's a travesty to deny them the same option, for instance, for medical cannabis that Americans enjoy in most states. With so many of our veterans service members suffering from wounds visible and hidden, the record is clear that medical cannabis can be transformative. It will help our service members save money, improve the quality of their care. I'm pleased that my colleague Brian Mast and I have been able to develop bipartisan legislation to remedy this situation, and I hope this Congress will relent and allow us to enact it. While I disagree with the spending priorities and the massive increase in spending, I remain impressed with our men and women in uniform, and from the brave recruits to the senior officers. They reflect so much about what is good about America. We should embrace our responsibilities for today and into the future by respecting the differences and strengthening opportunities to serve in our armed forces. We have a duty to them and our national security to do so.